And oh, I'll ask you later. All right, well, let's just say welcome to everyone. Hi, I'm Joanna from GSN Planet. Welcome. Excuse me. Megan is in our control room today. She is managing the efforts of Zoom, and I am so pleased to welcome our friends at Esalen this afternoon. So Doug Drummond, who is their healing arts manager there and has had a long and incredible career in healing arts around the world and at many different locations, but who has been a great partner to GSN and who has really worked hard to, I think, bring us some incredible education from their sources of experts over at Esalen, and we are really honored to partner with them. And today we have Dr. Siri Gian, who grew up in Sacramento in a family which loved massage and the refreshing sacred waters of spas. For 4 decades, Dr. Khalsa, a Reichian therapist and somatic coach, has helped people from all over the world to improve their breathing. So today he's going to be leading us in some of that work, and I will hand off to you, Doug, to talk a little bit more about that.
Well, thank you, Joanna, and hi to the GSN networking community. And yeah, lovely to be here again. Well, you know, our Esalen family, our Esalen faculty reaches far and wide, and it's a real delight to bring in Siri Gian with us today. Siri Gian is a real exponent of, you know, the Reichian work, which she'll share a little bit about as we experience it too. But we're really going back to the roots, you know, of some early philosophies and practices that were really powerful in Esalen's foundation. And, you know, it's always really special when we can bring in an elder, respectively share you as an elder, Dr. Siri Gian, and just, you know, just share about those moments of truth when you first get to meet someone or connect with someone, and to spend time with Siri Gian and connect as we arranged our calls and get this event together. It's really amazing to kind of witness the true vulnerability of true connection and presence. And often, sometimes, like I would share with my daughter, it's take a deep breath. It's the same way with big kids and adults too. And to be able to breathe, you know, with this man and to kind of share and be in his presence has been a really powerful experience. And I'm looking forward to him sharing some wisdom in the generous and gracious way he does. So without further ado, welcome, Dr. Siri Gian. It's a pleasure to have you here. And yeah, and have a great experience.
Thank you, Douglas. It's such an honor to be with you, wherever you are. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and just go inside for a moment. I don't know about you, but my partner, Christine, and I have been sheltering in place since February. We rarely see people. And so seeing you online is making me wag my tail with enthusiasm. It feels so good to connect with like souls. Please continue just observing your breath without trying to change it or judge it in any way. Just stay right with your breath, if that's comfortable for you. We're so used to doing things right or wrong. And there are trillions, infinite numbers of living forms. And each one allows us to access a different frequency, different emotional valences that are available to all of us all the time. I spent 11 years in other cultures, mainly studying breathing. And it was so interesting how in most cultures, the breath is God. The breath is access to the wisdom of the universe, past, present, and future. That's not what I grew up learning about breath. Also, it was so wonderful to learn from people of color, of many different colors. I've learned in Japan and many parts of Africa, and in ghettos in the United States, where I wrote a book on Africa in Oakland, California. But all the while looking at people's breathing and learning about the amazing wisdom that has developed in so many different cultures around breath. And now, please deepen your breath if that's comfortable for you. So instead of just observing it, that's a big deal. Surrender seems to be a key to relaxation, doesn't it? And we know that in spa cultures, that the more the person can let down, the more creativity can come through. The more we can truly surrender to the brilliance within ourselves, the more we have a sense of the next step to take in our life. Have you been wearing a mask when you go out? I have, to get meals or to get food or something, to get gas for my car. And I realize how much of my life I spend with a mask. I'm a white man, you know. I'm a Sikh, you know. I have 2 beautiful daughters, you know. My partner loves me and my dog loves me even more, you know. I live out in the country with all these stories about ourselves. And how are those stories holding up in the amplification of having so much time alone or with your partner? How are your relationships now with yourself and with those you're around? Have some aha moments come during this COVID-19 era for you? And now please do whatever you care to with your eyes. As Douglas mentioned, I've spent the last 40 years assisting people to improve their breathing. And not surprising, when the breathing improves, we get sexier. It's a sex therapy, the Reichian therapy. And the reason it is because Reich had amazing understandings about how the repression, all the no-nos that have come into our life have inhibited our amazing creativity, amazing sense of connectedness with all of life that's our birthright. So Reich spent his life finding ways of getting out from these traps that were created long before we came into this earth. These traps of inhibited breathing. I'd like to invite you to try some different types of breath that I have found really, really helpful over the years. The first one, bring your palms together. This is called prayer mudra, and it's said to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain and then front and back of the body. And your hands are right in front of conception vessel 17, the heart chakra point in yoga. And now please begin an inhale, deepest inhale you can get and deepest exhale you can get. 4-part inhale and 4-part exhale, all through the nose if that's comfortable for you. So. Please continue. So divide your inhale up into 4 equal increments, and same on the exhale. Eyes can be open or closed, or at the tip of the nose. So find where it feels most natural for you to have your eyes. And break the breath. As you break it up into 4 equal parts, I invite you to move your belly with each increment of the breath. So for example, on the inhale, you might push the belly out and then relax it 4 times. But get a big movement of the belly if you can. So belly comes way, way, way out, and then you relax it. Take the time to relax your belly each time. When we have a lot of tension, tightening muscles, we definitely in our abdominal area as well. And all of us have our own personal areas of creating hells for ourselves by tightening up. But those are 2 of the important areas. So be aware of your jaw, your shoulder, and letting them stay relaxed. And let there be as deep an inhale as you can get in 4 equal parts. Say pushing the belly out and relaxing it 4 times. And then on the exhale, you may want to pull the belly in and then relax it. Wait until your belly has come back to a point of relaxation before you continue the other parts of the inhale and the exhale. So deep, deep, deep breath. I invite you to thank yourself for caring so much about your well-being that you're focusing on such a fundamental aspect of your life as breathing. I thank you for caring so much about your breath that you affect everybody around you by how you breathe. Children learn how to breathe from the adults that are important in their life. And that affects them the rest of their life. It's said in many traditions that if you improve your breathing right now, that this will very positively affect people on the other side of the world whose auras are connected to yours. And we know, like the mycelium, that all of us are connected to everyone at all times. So any improvement you make in your breathing, one deep breath even, can be such a gift to the entire planet. With the fragility of the planet that we're aware of now, with the Me Too movement, with Black Lives Matter movement, with the sensitivity we're gaining as a culture to all different sexual identities and preferences. All of these things are connecting us to the whole world, whether we like it or not. Sometimes we're kicking and screaming, we're getting more connected. Keep going, deep, deep breath, just a little bit more. You're doing beautifully. Have you found, like I have, that situations that are the biggest shadows in your life have huge energy and creativity underneath them if I'm not afraid to go there? Same with terrible things happening in relationships. The teacher that circumstance can give us is so momentous. We think we're dying at times. And if we really die, then we get reborn. We know that. We know in 12-step programs, they say people have to bottom out in order to have any hope of having a foundation strong enough to rise in their creativity and their sense of purpose in their life. Most of us have found out by falling on our own faces how true that is. Just a little bit more, 4-part inhale, 4-part exhale. Beautiful. Now please inhale and press your palms together as hard as you can. Huge pressure. So not so bones are cracking, but very, very hard pressure. Keep holding the breath and pressing, 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 pressing. You may want to squeeze the belly and anus and sex organs a little bit. Hold them tight. Chest lifted up. And now relax the pressure between the hands, but keep them together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale deeply. Exhale all the way out. And now inhale as deeply as you can one more time and press very, very hard. Hold the breath, press hard. Beautiful. And now just relax. Let your hands and arms go wherever they're best for you and just relax deeply. And notice sensations you're experiencing now, and perhaps some change you're experiencing since we first began this crazy experiment in breathing that we're trying right now. I'm a Reichian therapist, and I never dreamed in a million years that I could be doing it's a body work. And I'm touching people, I'm holding acupressure points and work on people's scalp and different parts of the body at times as they're breathing, and coaching people in breath. And they make all different sounds. It's wide open breath. People who never cry begin screaming, screaming, screaming. People who have screamed all their life get in touch with quietness. It seems like whatever's needed when we breathe in these ways comes up. And it's so amazing. The mates of whoever I work with always say over a period of time, I don't know what you're doing, but I have the best lover I could ever dream of having since they've been doing the breath work. And all I'm doing is guiding them in discovering their own identity in terms of breath. We all have that. It's easy to do, too. It doesn't require somebody with a turban tied too tight to teach you how to breathe. It's in you, this knowledge. And now, once again, I invite you just to do the first thing we did. Just observe your breath without trying to judge it or change it, eyes open or closed, and notice how you're doing. We all have a very, very, very vicious accuser and judgmental part toward ourselves at times, don't we? I know I do. And I invite you to also have the part of you that really loves you, the part of you that's a witness and just saying, I know you messed up, but I love you. I know you mess up sometimes. I know you lie sometimes, but I know you're honest and have great integrity. I know your worth. So call on that part that can see the beauty and worth in you as you relax the breath. That part can guide you in breathing like no other. I had a teacher who was a student of Wilhelm Reich's. He's the teacher. Dr. Philip Kirkaruda came to California many, many years ago from New York, where he studied with Reich and Reich students. He brought the Reichian therapy to California. And he used to say that if people are not willing to come once a week for 2 years working on their breathing through the Reichian therapy, they're not serious about changing their breath. So it takes a while, but it's actually a very quick therapy. All the demons come up, all the pleasure comes up, huge ahas come up. And these are things that we can develop on our own as well. These are qualities of access to our brilliance and our beauty that are always there. And let's try another breath. This is the one many of my students call the 5-5-5 breath. Bring your hands together so that the thumbs are touching and touching the center of the sternum, right at nipple level. The base of the hands are wide open and like a teepee, the fingertips touching. And now please inhale for about 5 seconds. Hold the breath for 5 seconds and exhale for 5 seconds. And please continue in this pattern. 5-5-5. As you inhale, I invite you to let your belly fill up first. And not just the belly, but all the way around the body, like a donut. And then your diaphragm to expand out and then all the way around the body. Then the chest at nipple level expand completely all the way around the body. And then the clavicular area, the top rib, that area expand, and then feel that expansion on your sides and your back as well. And then you'll suspend the breath for 5 seconds, relaxing the body as thoroughly as you can. Just totally, utterly relax for the 5 seconds, staying upright, sitting, and the palms touching in this way, but otherwise relaxing. And then exhale for 5 seconds. That's a long time, isn't it? 1,000, 2, 1,000. That's infinitely long, 5 seconds. And please continue. 5-second inhale, 5 seconds suspending the breath, 5-second exhale. This breath supposedly has been used for thousands of years to deal with letting go of trauma. Letting go of it, and not in a way where there's amnesia about what happened. In fact, more clarity will come. But making it so that perhaps traumatic things in your life now, or trauma from childhood, or trauma from even your lineage, according to many traditions about this breath, so that that trauma doesn't have the same hold on you. It doesn't inhibit your breath and your creativity and your spontaneity. Keep breathing. 5-second inhale. 5 seconds suspending the breath where the body's relaxed as possible. 5-second exhale. I spent 11 years abroad, mainly studying with traditional healers, mainly about breathing. And in many traditions, people are invited to have the feeling that they're being breathed rather than breathing. In many traditions, this breath that's coming in and out of you isn't your own, it's God's. It's not your genius that's telling you to breathe. It's your genius to get out of the way and be breathed. In many traditions, this is the belief. So you can take it or leave it, but I'm offering it. The first breath we did, where we inhaled in 4 parts and exhaled in 4 parts, that's one to, when you're moving a lot of boxes, to do it beforehand. Any situation, or you're going to be around somebody of the opposite gender maybe, any dangerous situation, this helps you to stay centered and clear and balanced in your own energy. Very, very valuable. Keep going. 5-second inhale. 5 hold, 5 exhale. And that last breath we did is also said to give you about 2 hours, the energy of 2 hours of the best quality sleep. in about 5 minutes. Whether that's true or not, try your experience and see. For me, these have been lifesavers. I get up every morning between 3 and 3:20 and do this crazy stuff until 6:30, along with some chanting and other yoga and prayers. And I've done that virtually every day since 1972. And any practice you get, I'm not asking you to do the same thing, but any practice you get that you stick with will be such a gift. As you know, in the Kundalini practice I have, we throw ourselves in a cold shower right away. I'm into Wim Hof too for the last 4 years. I love Wim Hof, the Iceman, the Crutchman. Wonderful, the kinds of breath. And it's so compatible with the Reichian therapy and Kundalini yoga. Keep going a little bit more. So I love the Wim Hof way of getting in the hottest water you can get in that's comfortable, cozy for you. Then turn the water as cold as you can get it comfortably. And then hot again and cold again. And again, do it again one more, third time if you wish. Hot and then cold. And by the last time you're in the cold water doesn't faze you at all. Make sure you don't shock yourself. So start gradually. And if you do, it allows the immune system to get so much stronger. It allows your resilience in the face of challenges, which we all have during COVID-19. Everybody is scared and in pain in some way, if not emotionally or spiritually, financially perhaps. And we see so much instability politically and in terms of wars and lives. Our hearts just break and open to what's happening in the world. Become a beacon of light right now. Inhale 5, suspend 5, exhale 5. Stay right with your breath. Some part of you, the mind will wander. I need to send a message to somebody, blah, 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 blah. Come right back to the breath. Have that part of you that's loving toward you remind you in the most loving way to come to your breath. Let that wisdom guide you right now. Nothing more important, nowhere more important than the breath. And I was in Japan as an exchange student. I was 15 years old and I was so scared I'd get a hard-on going in the spa with women there and men there. Oh my God, that was terrifying. That was the thing that scared me about going to Japan. Not learning a lot about the language and the culture. It was the sex thing for a 15-year-old. And it turned out to be so elevating and so incredibly inspiring in my life, as did all the spa experiences in my family. And being in Europe for 3 years, wonderful spa experiences. And then in Africa, people have huge understanding about the value of hot and cold water. Huge understanding of the relationship between breath and meditation, between hot and cold water and getting access to healing and creativity. These are not separate. And in these third world cultures, there's this unbelievable understanding of the connection between my personal well-being and the well-being of my community and of the planet itself. And that my own well-being and the planetary well-being lead to prosperity in the deepest sense, both green in our pockets, green in an open heart, and green in terms of caring for the planet lovingly. That these can't be separated. We abuse ourselves, we become callous and hardened and can abuse the planet. And now please inhale deeply, suspend the breath, just a moment. And now relax your hands and relax everything and just go inside if you care to and relax and notice sensations you're experiencing now. Do you feel any different than the first time we did this? Where do you feel sensations in your body? Thoughts will come up, of course, and the ideal, of course, is to let them be observed, not negated, but let them pass like a cloud. Both at Esalen and in other spa environments, there's such a rich understanding about the value of relaxation, the value of refreshing our spirit in such a way that we can really be a gift to everyone around us. There's an understanding in both cultures that one's capacity to go inside and relax and become whole allow us to find our life purpose, our life passion. Beautiful. Keep relaxing. You're doing great. Now the next breath I'd like to show you is one where you have your hands over your chest, and please let the right and left hands be pointing toward each other but not touching each other. Right at sternum level, heart chakra level. And now please inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds, and suspend the breath out up to 15 seconds. So inhale 5, 1 deep, complete inhale. Exhale for about a 5 count. And then suspend the breath out with the body as relaxed as you can get it up to 15 seconds. Most people can't. This is about 2 breaths per minute. Most people can't breathe that slowly at first. Once you get oxygenated, as a person does, being in spas, being in Esalen, learning about our life purpose and living with passion, all of a sudden we can hold the breath out much more. In many traditions, like in that of Tibetans and certainly that of Wim Hof and certainly in Kundalini Yoga, once we can oxygenate, then we can hold the breath out without any struggle for 2 or 3 minutes. No struggle at all. And that means the oxygen and the prana have gotten so that they're entering every pore of the body. Your hair starts to brighten up, the skin gets brighter. And with that prana, not only do we feel great, but I noticed in Africa, I studied with the most radiant people. Their eyes were just balls of light. Their skin was so bright. These teachers I had in Africa for the 6 years total I spent in Africa, these were people who knew how to breathe. And when they listened to people, sometimes they'd have 500 people coming to them in a day for healing. They listened with every fiber of their body. Their skin seemed to be listening. They were just in a total state of being present. Sometimes it looked like they were just nodding off and not present, and then they would have gotten totally deeply rocked everything around them. But this comes from surrender to relaxation. It comes from surrender to breath. It comes from knowing that intuitively we all have the capacity to find just the perfect breath for this moment. We all have the wisdom of knowing that the greatest wisdom flows through us, not somebody else telling us how to be, but we have this guidance within all the time. You're doing beautifully. Keep up. When we nurture ourselves like we're doing now, 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale, 15 seconds suspending the breath after the exhale. Don't force it. Do nothing that makes you suffer here. So maybe you're going to count very quickly, but the holding the breath out should be 3 times longer than the inhale, 5 seconds, to the exhale, 5 seconds. So 15, 3 times longer. So try to have that ratio if you can. This is called the inner conflict resolver reflex. And it has names in many different cultures. And when we feel scattered, literally the prana, the life force, is scattered in our body, as any clairvoyant will attest to. They can say, you look scattered today, and literally the energy is scattered. What this does is bring the prana back to the heart center. It brings some of our most essential energy right to where we can be most effective and most healing towards self and others. We've learned over the years that people going to a spa without anybody preaching about breath, preaching about relaxation, preaching about yoga, or anything else, people find that wisdom which is innate to them just by being in a spa, by getting massage. Amazingly powerful. And when we combine that with that spa culture being a lighthouse of the world like Esalen, And like many spas, it makes it even more potent. And knowing that during this time of having a mask on and being demasked by COVID-19 in our relationships, in our sense of purpose in our life, in so many ways, we have this unbelievable opportunity to find our next step in life even more powerfully than we've stepped before. Keep breathing, 5-second inhale, 5 exhale, suspend the breath out. Body as relaxed as you can be during that period of suspending the breath out. So not tightening, suspending, not like holding the breath. It's like surrendering to this wisdom that always flows through you. You're doing beautifully. Just keep up a little bit more. In those 11 years I spent abroad, I got to meet many wise people. People with bright eyes and bright auras who knew how to breathe. And I noticed how happy a lot of these people were. What great relationships they had. It wasn't like they wouldn't get enraged at times. It wasn't all nice at all. But they could deal with conflict in a way that would be empowering to themselves and others, as I'd never seen before in my life. I got to see how potent people can be when they're willing to look at their own shadows and be informed so that their wisdom gets richer because of going into that shadow. Having the hard conversations. I grew up in a lily white culture, and for years the people I was like 1 in 1,000 white people. And what a wonderful gift to stop being afraid of people who look different from me. What a gift. And my kids were born in Africa to their white mother and father, and maybe 100 people a day picked them up naked. This is in the tropics where it's very hot, and lovingly touched my kids. So they don't have that same fear of the unknown. Maybe a third of the people I've worked with as a Reichian therapist have been gay and lesbian and transgender. And that was a no-no for me growing up. Terrifying, having contact with people like that. And those people have been my teachers. Same with these people of color. Same with people who are standing up and talking about their trauma with the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter. We have so much wisdom accessible right now if we're willing to open to it rather than be afraid of it. We know that. And the spa and this amazing lighthouse of Esalen are certainly places that remind us time and again to not be afraid of what's inside. And now please inhale deeply. Exhale deeply. Inhale deeply. And relax. Let your hands down, eyes open or closed. And again, I invite you just to go inside and see how you're doing. Please again, thank yourself for trying this crazy experiment of breathing together. It's such an honor being with you. I have been teaching people about breathing for 40 years, but 12 years ago, I started working with a group of people in a nonprofit, community-owned medical center, and working with to improve people's breathing, mainly people with anxiety and depression, a lot of homeless people, many people of color. And at first, the 120 people working there thought, this is crazy. This guy with a turban teaching people who need the heaviest duty medications, or in and out of prison, in and out of mental hospitals, teaching them just to breathe. That's crazy. That's not going to do anything. And at first, there would be like first 2 or 3 years, there'd be 2 or 3 people there. And then when COVID-19 came along, there were already the last couple of years, maybe 30 people coming every week, and a waiting list of people wanting to sit around in chairs learning to breathe. And this is something that in any spa, any circumstance, any classroom, by learning to breathe better, we can learn everything better. I'm studying with Elon Musk's teacher, Jim Quick, learning how to read again, learning how to memorize things more effortlessly. It's just a wonderful, wonderful trip. I'm learning about another kind of sexuality, peace between the sheets. And instead of the get her hot and get hot yourself and build up the energy till it's roaring, and then squirt, 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 and then relax. It's a different kind of a high, like maybe you have with your dog, where there's just pure love, and you're giving and giving and giving and not trying to get anything, just giving. How beautiful. So this is the valley orgasm that we learn about in many Taoist practices. And Reich was also aware of that. And learning from so many different cultures that maybe we used to be afraid of, that have these lessons to teach us that are exactly what I need to learn right now. So anyway, it's just a total delight being with you. There will be other programs focusing on breath, and there have been at Esalen. And hopefully there will be a program there where people learn more elements of Reichian therapy. I've studied about breathing in many different cultures, not just Reichian, but that's certainly the richest one that informs me, that in Kundalini. So thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes, Siri Gian, just while folks are getting questions together and things, thank you. And just in particular, thank you for, bringing something like a bit of not a shadow, but there's a little bit of the outside just around, say, sexuality and, around some of our unconscious bias, and to experience it whilst breathing is a very, very different way, where the head is way out of the way and it's a very visceral response in the body. And I think it takes tremendous leadership and a strong container to hold that, and you do that very beautifully. And I think that's just an inspiring lesson to witness that as we learn to take on faculty as we go into Esalen or to other locations or spas, for instance, that, it's easier said than done, but the way that you did it was really beautiful. And I just really want to acknowledge your courage and your effortless ease and the way you did that beautifully. So thank you so much for that offering.
Thank you, Doug. Thank all of you.
Well said, Doug. Very well said. That was really, really amazing. And you are clearly a very skilled practitioner in this type of work because your voice is so relaxing. I think you can that really comes across even over the video. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us this afternoon.
Thank you. I have so much respect for Esalen and the Green Spa Network. You're just doing amazing work.
Thank you.
And please remember that in this time of fear that there are unbelievable gifts underneath whatever feels most daunting in our life. That's the message we get from the breathing. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And thank you, Megan and Doug. And we did put Siri Gian, Dr. Siri Gian's email and also his website in the chat. So if anybody wants to be in touch with you or speak with you, they can. So thank you very much. We'll see you next couple weeks from now.
Thank you. So delightful being with all of you. Bye-bye.
Just a pleasure. Thank you. See you guys. Bye.